Hey guys, welcome back to Spiritual Journey. We are going to talk about the full moon that is set to arrive in just a couple days on June 14th. This is going to be a super moon. That means that the Earth is closer, or the moon is closer to the Earth than usual and is considered perigee. And when the moon is so close to the Earth and considered a supermoon, we can have more forceful tides. Weather patterns can be a little more extreme. And we can certainly experience more emotional displays at this full moon because of that supermoon energy that is attached to it. On top of that, it's in the wild sign of Sagittarius at 23 degrees. And Sagittarius always is a little more exaggerated, a little more out there, and it begins Mountain Standard Time, Central Standard Time at 5:52 a.m. On the morning of June 14th. So that would be 4:54 on the Pacific Coast, 2 hours later at 7:52 on the East Coast. So it's pretty early in the morning. So the night before, we could definitely start to feel the impact of this full moon. And even a week before, we could have started to feel that. So we have been in a really hectic pattern. And this full moon is going to exaggerate this hecticness that has been going on. Many of us could feel like we're on a really rapid pace or a really rapid schedule. Got to do this, have to do this, now it's this. And it just goes on and on and on. And many of us could feel frazzled. We could feel like we're a little exhausted to some degree. And part of this is due because Jupiter has moved into the sign of Aries. And just recently, Mars has moved into Aries. And the two of these planets have joined together in Aries. And this all of a sudden ramped up the energy and ramped us all up. So we're not sleepwalking anymore. We're going, oh, we have all this stuff to do. And when is it going to end? Or when is this busyness going to start to subside? So that's been really going on for quite a while. Then today, on the 11th, Jupiter Venus and Uranus joined together. So that really brings some surprising elements to the table as well as we head into this full moon. The full moon itself, the chart of the full moon, certainly indicates that there's some opportunities available for us, probably from past work that we've done, past connections that we've had, because Saturn is now retrograde and the moon is going to sextile Saturn. So that belief that what we're doing really matters and it really makes a difference, and what we've done in the past really matters, and it probably does really make a difference. And at this full moon, we could really see some opportunities if we've been doing that, and some doors perhaps opening up because of past connections or karmic energy that is kind of working through the system. And because Saturn is retrograde, we're going to fly all the way back to some things that we were starting to think about last year. So your action really does matter. Your belief system really makes a difference. And so in that, moon sextiling Saturn in Aquarius for the expansion, maybe new age, new models of believing can really send a message with this moon. So the rules and details is kind of like we're trying to put it together now. We've had some thoughts, we've had some inspiration, and this full moon can really pull it together. Especially if this moon is plugging into some things in your own chart. So do look at where 25 degrees of Aquarius is, and this full moon at 23 degrees of Sagittarius, because that is really going to make a big impact. This Sagittarius energy, Sagittarius is all about your beliefs, ethics, morality. It's about the truth. It's about the law and the legal system, and it has the moon here. So that really says to us women's issues in the legal system or is really going to come front and center. And that could be all kinds of issues that are going on today in the world with those issues with women. It's also about freedom and where we stand in our own truth, and what we actually believe in. So the belief system is really important. And, it's for theta healing, for example, your beliefs are what cause you to become ill or cause disease, and those entrenched beliefs. So Sagittarius is a very large sign that impacts our education, how we were educated, what those belief systems were, and how they impacted us as we mature and get older. And are they relevant? Do they still stand for something, or are they obsolete and really not worth our effort? And because the moon is in sextile to Saturn, maybe it's time to go over some of those individual belief systems and restructure them and create new boundaries, new borders of how we can stretch our minds and how we can move forward in a very productive, because Saturn is very productive and it's very structured. And so we have to keep that in mind, because Sagittarius can get really out of control. It can get really hectic, promising too much for something, making yeah, I'll do that. Don't worry about it. I'll be there. But it gets this real hecticness about it. And then all of a sudden you're swamped and you can't manage everything that you've made a promise to do. And this is where this moon can kind of really take us over and start to really run the show versus us making some solid decisions. And so the moon makes some really positive aspects, luckily. It's trine to Aries. Eris is the closest in its degree formation. Eris is at 24 degrees. This moon is at 23 degrees. So we have the ability to harness and manage our desires, and kind of that ability to look at ourselves and what we're doing or the commitments we've made and say, yeah, it's the right thing to do. I really believe that this is happening. And so you feel comfortable in manipulating the possibilities to your standards or to suit you. And you have to be aware that what suits you may not necessarily suit other people. Or is it in the best interest of the whole? Because that's Aquarius. Is it the best interest for everyone, or just for you, or just for me? But it does give manageability to chaos and chaotic situations, and finding solutions to some of that chaoticness. Now, Jupiter is the planet that is ruling this moon. And Jupiter is in the sign of Aries. And Jupiter can expand our own personal needs and what the individual wants versus what the collective wants. And we can really target ourselves and perhaps against somebody, or really exclude somebody. And it's all based on our belief systems. And it's active, engaging energy that I am going to do this. It's really good if you're going to expand your model, like expand your business, expand or grow bigger in what you want to do with your life. So there's high expectations here, and it is very positive. The downfall of this moon and all of this energy that says, get out, get going, start to do something all brand new, begin. This hecticness can outpace us. And so we can believe that we're going in one direction. The downfall here is that this moon is going to be in a T-square, or the moon and the sun are both 90 degrees away from Neptune. And Neptune is in its own sign of Pisces. So underneath the surface, underneath all this optimism and this aggressiveness and this, I'm going to go after what I want, and I'm going to manage everything, and I'm going to do what I feel is necessary, can become extremely confusing. And it can get us all mixed up. So we think one way, and somebody's going to point out that, no, actually, that isn't true. Actually, you have to do this, this, and this before you can ever get to that. So it's kind of a muddled energy, and that doubles that hectic energy because we will go to try and correct it. So Neptune is the lie. It is the lie, or it is the point that says, do this because it is the best thing to do. So you really need to be cautious about not only what you're doing, what you're expressing, and what your beliefs are, because it could really impact somebody else's life. And you may not even be aware of the consequences of that action. And maybe it's not you. Maybe you are the victim, because Neptune is the victim. And so maybe you become the victim. And perhaps at this full moon, there's the dawning of being used or manipulated or taken advantage of. And so things can go sideways pretty quickly, even though you believe that you're on the right road. And because the sun is in the sign of Gemini, there can be a double standard here for the truth, because the moon is in Sagittarius, it's in opposition to the sun. And what is the double standard? What is the information? Are you hearing two stories from the same person, or are you just getting bits and pieces of things and you're assuming the answers to those questions you've been asking yourself? Gemini's is always a little gossipy, not because it chooses to cause distress or dysfunction. What it wants to do is it wants to gather information. It wants all the information. It wants to know what's happening. It wants to know where everybody stands. So this information that is coming in can be representative of the truth, but we don't know if that is the truth. And that's why it's really important to be discerning with this information that you are obtaining or gathering. Because of the hecticness of this energy and the trine to Eris, we could go, oh, I could use this to my advantage. I could actually work this through and really make something of this. And then it could turn out not to be of the best benefit either to you or somebody else. So you have to do your research. You have to find out what is the best to do with this moon. It is a full moon. So therefore, energetically, this full moon can always cause higher tides, a little bit more possibly rainfall because it's squared on with Neptune, and we could have heavy rainfall in some areas with this full moon. So we do need to be cautious of that as well, because it's plugging in this T-square to Neptune. We could have issues with smog, pollution, pollen in the air, so allergies or allergic reactions to certain things. We're more sensitive at this full moon, so do be careful of what you're consuming. Don't consume too much alcohol or ingest drugs that you're not familiar with. And those issues, pharmaceutical issues, disease issues, drug addiction, alcohol addiction definitely could come to the forefront. As well, this full moon really plays in to the fact of those higher inflationary prices that are affecting us globally, along with the gas prices. And we could really hit a crisis point here with the fuel and gas prices at this full moon. So that is something to be aware of and cognizant about. Mars is moving towards Chiron. So when Mars is applying to Chiron, or sitting right on Chiron actually in this chart, and we can feel the strong need to heal and to look after ourselves and look after our own needs and to really heal and nourish ourselves. That's an important thing to do. The judicial system, as I mentioned, is also relevant and really important element to this. And so legalities or some legal things are going to start to rise to the surface, and which could impact the rules and regulatory systems as well. Venus has just passed its conjunction with Uranus, and that is always generally quite disruptive to the currencies as well as stock markets, as a new cycle begins with Venus in Taurus in her own sign, joined with Uranus. So do be careful of that. Surprising events are still in play. Mercury, of course, has just finally moved in back into Gemini and now he's moving to break new ground by the 18th, I believe it is. So this is strong energy to start moving forward with some of that information that we have received or are receiving. So some of you, of course, have said, well, this is pretty close to the galactic center, 23 degrees. The galactic center is 26 degrees. This is where we start to get new information at that galactic center, like we're getting these downloads from spirit world or messages, more inspiration is coming in. I don't know necessarily if this moon is close enough to the galactic center to have an impact. I like to see it a little bit closer to the 1 degree, 2 degrees. And so this is 3 degrees away. So hopefully it'll bring in some of that new information that we are looking for or seeking to have within us. Sagittarius definitely is about discovering the truth and what the truth is. And Sagittarius is also going to impact education and immigration, our morals, women's legal issues. And with that square to Neptune, we can get these secrets or misconceptions that are happening that we have to really sort out and decipher and be discerning in what that actually means. And does it play in well with your belief system? Because Jupiter in Aries, people can really go off on their own crusades in terms of what they believe to be the truth. And it can be a little disruptive and a little hectic, especially if it's not in alignment with the actual truth. And that can be significant. You know what they say, have the best lawyer. It doesn't matter what the truth is, because it's about the manipulation of what the truth is. And so a good lawyer can manipulate the truth into instilling the belief in other people that that is true. Not that I have anything personal against the legal system, but that very much is. That's why we have the woman with the scales blindfolded. And it represents not only to be impartial against the two sides, but to also perhaps be blinded by what the truth actually is. So that's kind of something. If you are in legal disputes, if you are having issues with the legal system, this moon obviously can create more confusion. And yet you can have somebody really stepping up to the plate with the sextile to Saturn and going, no, actually, these are the events that happened in the past because Saturn is moving to retrograde. So hopefully those things work. In terms of if you do any manifestations, this is a really good time to do some dream work because of the square to Neptune. Maybe begin a dream journal. It is also a really good time to unravel things or delve into some metaphysical things, healing practices, because Mars is right on top of Chiron, and look at your nutrition. If you are doing any type of spell energy, this would be justice and the judicial system, but also it's about calming down energy and not protecting to some degree, but calming this energy down so you can think clearly, and you don't go off crazily towards something when it's not for sure the truth. And so in the sports world, sporting events, getting outdoors, go hiking, do exercise, delve into something constructive to do, because that will help you with all this hectic energy, and create something, begin the process of creating something of value. And so get out in the wilderness, go for a walk, nature walk, and enjoy Mother Earth, and as she begins to grow here in the month of June. So it was lovely once again to be here with you. If you want to follow me on Facebook or here on YouTube. But on Facebook, I am the one I'm Spiritual Journey, the one with the tree and the moon. I look forward, if you want to contact me, feel free. I do individual astrology readings, and I look forward to engaging with you again. So I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.